Welcome to the Consumer Decision-Making Lecture Series. In this video, we discuss why consumer behavior matters, and then we will walk through the steps in the consumer decision-making process. So, to start with, why does consumer behavior matter? Well, understanding consumer behavior is essential for marketers and consumers. When discussing consumer behavior, you are the hunted and the hunter. Companies spend billions of dollars each year focused on influencing consumers' purchasing decisions. They're trying to get you to buy their products. Here, you are the hunted. At the same time, as a consumer, we search out brands and products that fit our needs and wants. We're actively looking for products that will solve our problems and make our lives better. Here, you are the hunter. Before we get started in the consumer decision-making process, we first need to define consumer behavior. Consumer behavior is the process a consumer uses to make purchase decisions, as well as to use and dispose of purchased goods or services. This also includes factors that influence purchase decisions and product use. So, essentially, consumer behavior is going to describe how consumers make purchase decisions and how they use and dispose of those goods and services. Marketers need to answer two critical questions. First, how do potential buyers go about making purchase decisions? And second, what factors influence their decision process and in what way? If marketers can understand these two questions, they can better develop products, marketing messages, and strategies that appeal to their target customers. If you remember back to the overview of marketing material, we talked about the fact that marketing is all about value and benefits, not necessarily goods and services. We purchase products because of the value that they give us, not necessarily because of the product itself. So, we need to understand what value is. Value is the personal assessment of the net worth one obtains from making a purchase. Value is what you get minus what you give. It's what you get compared to what you give up. We also have what's known as perceived value, which is the value that we expect to get. And then we have actual value, the value we receive from a purchase. This could be more or less than what we expected. Let's say the value I get from purchasing a new vacuum is a clean floor. I purchased a new vacuum, so the value, what I'm getting minus what I'm giving up, is I'm getting a clean floor in exchange for money. My perceived value is what I'm expecting to get. My perceived value in purchasing a robot vacuum is that I will set my Roomba on a timer to run when I leave my house, and as soon as I return, I expect that the Roomba will have completed running and my floor will be perfectly clean. Now, the actual value I'm going to get is going to be, in this case, less than what I expected. Quite often, when I set my Roomba to run before leaving, it gets stuck under furniture. It gets stuck on a towel that I might have accidentally left on the floor. It gets stuck on the fringe from a rug. If it doesn't get stuck, then it still might miss a few sections on the floor. So it doesn't necessarily clean my entire floor. The value is my clean floor. My perceived value is that my floor is going to be 100% clean. However, my actual value in this case is less than what I expected because my floor is not perfectly clean when I return home. It's about 85% clean. In terms of value, we have two different types of value. We have utilitarian value and hedonic value. Utilitarian value is derived from a product or service that helps the consumer solve problems and accomplish tasks. Utilitarian is very basic in nature. We're going to solve a problem and accomplish a task. I will receive my utilitarian value as soon as a task is accomplished. Typically, when we talk about utilitarian value or utilitarian products, or even utilitarian shopping, we talk about it in terms of have to. I have to buy a washing machine because I need clean clothes. I have to buy a new pair of socks because my current socks have holes in them. Utilitarian value is not necessarily something we enjoy doing, but we need a problem to be solved, and we need to accomplish a specific task. Opposite to that is hedonic value. With hedonic value, it's an end in itself rather than a means to an end. Essentially, the purchase tends to give us good feelings. It could make us happy, and it makes us satisfied. With hedonic value, or we could say hedonic shopping or hedonic products, it's the purchase that gives us positive feelings. We're happy, it's exciting, it's fun. With hedonic value, I'm not engaging in the shopping behavior because I must. I'm doing it because I enjoy it. I'm doing it because it's fun. When I spend a day shopping with my friends, I'm usually engaged in hedonic value or hedonic shopping because I enjoy the process. I enjoy getting together with my friends, having a cup of coffee, going to different stores, maybe having lunch or seeing a movie. It's a process. It's not something that we have to do. This brings us into the consumer decision-making process. When people buy products, particularly new or expensive items, we as consumers follow what's called the consumer decision-making process. These 5 steps: need recognition, information search, evaluation of alternatives, purchase, and post-purchase behavior, represent a general process that can be used as a guide for studying how consumers make decisions. Consumer decisions do not always proceed in order through all these steps. The consumer may skip steps in the process at any time or may not even make a purchase. Let's go through each of these 5 steps. The first step is need recognition. Need recognition is the result of an imbalance between our actual and our desired states. It's the difference between where we currently are and where we would like to be. Let me ask you a simple question. What happens if I have no need? What if I don't need anything? Well, plain and simple. If I have no need, I make no purchase. It's very simple. Now, marketers don't like this. In a situation like this, marketers are going to try to create a need for you. Let's shift over to talk about a need versus a want. A want is the recognition of an unfilled need and a product that is going to satisfy it. On a very simple level, I need to eat because my actual state is hungry and my desired state is full. That would be an example of a need. Now, a want is a recognition of an unfilled need and a product that's going to satisfy it. My need is that I need to eat. My want is that I want McDonald's. Here, I need to eat. I want McDonald's. The need recognition step is triggered when a consumer is exposed to either an internal or external stimulus, which is any unit of input affecting one or more of the 5 senses. Internal stimulus or internal stimuli are occurrences that you experience. This could be hunger, as in my previous example, or it could be thirst. Internal stimulus is going to be something that's inside of us, something in us, or that maybe happens to us to create a need. With hunger or thirst, you get hungry, you need to eat. You are thirsty, you need to get some water. How does an internal stimulus translate over to marketing? An example could be that I have a hole in my jeans. This occurrence is something that I'm experiencing. This is an internal stimulus. Because my jeans have a hole in them, I need to buy a new pair of jeans. We also have external stimuli. External stimuli are influences from an outside source. This type of stimulus is not coming from within me, but it's coming from an outside source. It could be someone else recommending a new pair of jeans to me. It could be a YouTube video that I'm watching. It could be a Google search that I've conducted. An external stimulus with our jeans example could be an advertisement for a pair of jeans. Let's say that my jeans still work perfectly fine. They're not broken, but I see a billboard that tells me I should spend the summer in style. Oh, well, that just sounds fantastic. I've seen this external stimulus of an advertisement, and the advertisement creates a desire for me to purchase a new pair of jeans, even though my current jeans are perfectly fine. The last thing we want to talk about here is the want-got gap. This is the difference between what you want and what you currently have. If this gap is too small, you're not motivated to search for a solution. If the gap is too large, you might feel like the solution is unattainable and you won't engage in information search. The gap needs to be just right to motivate you to move forward in the decision-making process. Let's look at 3 different types of needs that consumers have. You can have a functional need, a social need, or a need for change. A functional need is when the need is related to a feature or specific function of the product or happens to be the answer to a functional problem. Like a computer with more powerful video card to be able to play the latest video games. Or a washing machine that responds to the need to have clean clothes while avoiding having to do it by hand or go to the laundromat. Toiletry products are also functional needs. I need toothpaste so I can have clean teeth. A social need is when the need comes from a desire for integration and belongingness in the social environment, or for social recognition, like buying a new fashionable bag to look good at school, or choosing a luxury car to show that you're successful in life. The last type of need isn't actually a need at all. It's a want. A need for change is when the need has its origin in a desire from the consumer to change. This may result in the purchase of a new coat or new furniture to change the decoration of your apartment. Now, let's move into the information search stage. After recognizing a need or want, consumers search for information about the various alternatives available to satisfy it. I'm going to start with internal information search. In an internal information search, the person recalls information stored in memory. This stored information stems largely from previous experience with a product. Continuing with the jeans example, I've bought jeans before, and I've worn different brands. I've worn American Eagle, Hollister, and I think I've worn a pair of Levi's before. I remember that the Hollister jeans were cute, but they didn't fit me very well, and they were a bit tight. The Levi's, to be honest, I don't remember a ton about them at all. So that means I guess they were okay. Not great, but also not terrible. The American Eagle jeans, those are the ones I've worn most frequently. I really like American Eagle jeans. They fit well, and they're pretty comfortable. So this is my internal search from my experience. Then I move into external search. There are 2 types of external search: marketing controlled and non-marketing controlled. Let's start with a marketing controlled search. An external information search seeks information from the outside environment. An external marketing controlled information source is biased towards a specific product because it originates with marketers promoting that product. Marketing controlled information sources include mass media advertising, sales promotions, salespeople, product labels and packaging, and social media. For external marketing controlled search for jeans, I might go to the website for the companies that I'm interested in. In this example, I'm looking at American Eagle because I've worn those jeans in the past, and I really like them. This is a marketing controlled external search because the information is coming from the marketer itself. the company is trying to promote their products and convince me to buy from them. I could also conduct an external, non-marketing controlled search. A non-marketing controlled information source is a product information source that is not associated with marketers promoting a product. These information sources include personal experiences, personal sources, public sources, and, again, social media. I may ask my friends what their favorite brand of jeans are. I may also search for customer reviews for the specific product. I want to see what customers who purchased a specific pair of jeans have to say. In a non-marketing controlled search, the information is non-biased. The people providing opinions don't have any stake in the company or the product. They are giving me their own personal experience. At the end of information search, I ultimately come up with what is called an evoked set. An evoked set, also called a consideration set, is a group of brands resulting from an information search from which a buyer can choose. From this set, the buyer will further evaluate the alternatives and make a choice. Let's say I've narrowed it down from 3 different brands, American Eagle, Hollister, and Levi, and my evoked set is different product types in the American Eagle brand. So I've got my information and I'm ready to move to the next step. The next step is the evaluation of alternatives. A consumer will use the information stored in memory and obtained from external sources to develop a set of criteria. One way to begin narrowing the number of choices in the evoked set is to pick a product attribute and then exclude all products in the set that do not have that attribute. Cutoffs are either minimum or maximum levels of an attribute that an alternative must pass to be considered. In this case, I've got American Eagle jeans, and I realize that I've got several different options to choose from. I've got skinny jeans, loose, baggy, athletic straight, and so many more styles. Because I want my jeans to be versatile, I can narrow the fit down to athletic straight and remove any jeans that are not in the athletic straight category. Now I can continue this process until I am left with just a few or one choice. I will narrow down the price range to $50 to $75. Wash is medium wash, and destruction is not ripped. At the end of this step, I move into purchasing. In the purchase step, the consumer has several decisions to make. The consumer has to decide whether to buy or not buy. If they decide to buy or purchase the product, the consumer must then decide when to buy, what to buy, which includes the product type and brand, where to buy, which includes the type of retailer, specific retailer, online or in-store, and how to pay. If I'm looking at whether to buy, yes, I need to buy a new pair of jeans because mine ripped. When to buy? In the next week. What to buy? The specific product and the brand. Then I'm going to decide where to buy. What specific retailer am I going to buy my jeans at? Or potentially, am I buying them online or in-store? Lastly, I need to decide how to pay. Am I going to pay with my debit card, credit card, or maybe cash? Now that we've talked about the elements in the purchase stage, we need to discuss the different types of purchases that people make. For this example, we will step away from jeans. When making a purchase, consumers can select from one of 4 purchasing types. The first is a fully planned purchase. Fully planned purchases are based upon a lot of information. This is when you know exactly what you're going to buy before you get to the store. An example of a fully planned purchase is a house. You know the exact house you're going to buy and won't purchase any house out on the market. The second type of purchase is a partially planned purchase. This is when the consumer knows the product category they want to buy, but waits until they get to the store to choose a specific style or brand. An example of unplanned purchasing might be clothing. You might know you need a new long-sleeve dress shirt for work, but you wait until you get to the store to decide on the specific brand, color, or pattern. The third type of purchase is an unplanned purchase. An unplanned purchase means you did not plan to make this purchase before entering the store, but after using logic and reasoning, you decided to purchase. For example, you may go to Walmart to buy milk, eggs, and bread. However, as you're walking to the back of the store for milk, you notice Tide detergent is on sale. You stop and think for a minute. I use Tide detergent. I still have some at home, so I don't really need to buy it today. But when I run out, the detergent might not be on sale. I should probably go ahead and buy it today on sale to save money later. In this example, you did not plan to buy Tide laundry detergent, but after using logic and reasoning, you decided to go ahead and make the purchase today. The last type of purchase is an impulse purchase. An impulse purchase is made quickly with little attention to alternatives and is based more on emotion or excitement. For this one, let's use gum as an example. If you're standing in the checkout line at Walmart, you might look over at the candy and gum options. You notice there's a new flavor of gum, mint watermelon popcorn. And within 3 seconds, you grab the gum and put it in your cart. In this situation, you did not think through the process. You did not think about the number of sticks of gum you have in your backpack and how often you chew gum. Instead, you saw the gum, were intrigued with the flavor, and put it in your cart. After you make a purchase, you move into the last step in the consumer decision-making process, post-purchase behavior. When buying products, consumers expect certain outcomes from the purchase. How well these expectations are met determines whether the customer is satisfied or dissatisfied with the purchase. Price often influences the level of expectations for a product or service. If I paid a lot of money for my jeans, I'm going to have higher expectations for quality and durability. For the marketer, an important element of any post-purchase evaluation is reducing any lingering doubts that the decision was not a good one. When people recognize inconsistency between their values or opinions and their behavior, they tend to feel an inner tension called cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is the inner tension that a consumer experiences after recognizing an inconsistency between behavior and values or opinions. Consumers try to reduce dissonance by justifying their decision. They may seek new information that reinforces positive ideas about the purchase, avoid information that contradicts their decision, or revoke the original decision by returning the product. If we go back to the jeans from American Eagle example, I might have purchased the jeans, and then they ripped on the first or third wear. In this situation, I do have cognitive dissonance because the value I received from my jeans is less than the value I expected. Because they ripped too quickly, I'm going to return these jeans for a refund and start the buying process from the beginning.